we're keeping a close eye at the developments that is currently happening here in Majengo in Nairobi County, where protests, of course, ensued this morning. We're waiting for the National Police Service to give us a status update in regards to that particular operation, given that the residents were up in arms. Those are among the stories we do have for you this hour. Talk to us on our social media platforms at KBC Channel 1 and at Abdiaziz Hashim 2. Welcome to the broadcast once more. The sign language interpreter at the bottom of the screen is Lucy Maura. And we start off on that particular story where Majengo Estate in Nairobi County was a no-go zone this morning as irate protesters clashed with police officers following the fatal shooting of a 17-year-old boy allegedly by police. The 17-year-old boy, a Form 3 student, is reported to have been shot in the head last night as police conducted a crackdown in the area. During the protest, two police vehicles were torched and some of their houses were set ablaze. The angry protesters also vandalized the chief's office, demanding action against the officer who killed the teenager. The Kenya Human Rights Commission have condemned the incident, demanding justice. We'll give you more details in our subsequent bulletins, especially from the National Police Service. Elsewhere, President William Ruto has reaffirmed Kenya's commitment to strengthening the international relations, officially receiving the credentials of 5 more at State House Nairobi this morning. The envoys who presented their letters to State House Nairobi included George Pisash of Greece, Enosphos Fernandez from Cuba, as well as Khan Honyasik from South Korea, Mario de Azevedo from Angola, and Vu Na from Vietnam. Speaking at the ceremony, President Ruto reaffirmed Kenya's unwavering commitment to deepening bilateral ties with its nations and expanding cooperation in the areas such as trade, security, and cultural exchange. The event were attended by Deputy President Kithure Kindiki, senior state officials, and embassy representatives. Marks the official commencement of each envoy's mission in the country.
To pursue the interests of your government within the territory of Kenya by promoting the bonds of friendship and, to the widest extent possible, the aspirations of the people of our two nations. Congratulations, Ambassador. Welcome to Kenya. I look forward to working with you.
Okay.
And my very best wishes.
Thank you very much. I will make every effort to further develop the excellent relations between our countries and enhance the brotherhood of cooperation relations with Kenya, a name synonymous with resilience, warmth, and spirit unyielding. I trust I can count on your support and the support of your government in this endeavor.
It is my earnest hope that during my tour of duty I shall succeed in my endeavors to further promote the bilateral relations between our two countries in all fields: political, diplomatic, economic, and cultural.
I sincerely believe that there is huge potential for mutually beneficial cooperations between our nations on the path ahead. During my tenure as Korean ambassador to Kenya, I spent no time in further reinforcing friendship and cooperation.
Based on the regional and their international importance, our two countries are committed to living together and rising ever higher the relations of friendship and fraternity between our peoples.
With the full support from Your Excellency and your government, I will do positively contribute to the better cooperation and friendship between the two nations and peoples.
And in other news, Catholic faithfuls in the country have joined their counterparts across the world in celebrating Ash Wednesday, which signifies the start of the Lenten season. In Embu County, religious leaders called on political leaders to desist from pride and embrace love to ensure peaceful coexistence in the country. Led by Father Stephen Gitau, who presided over the first Holy celebration to mark the beginning of the season at St. Anne and Joachim Church, Riara Parish. The religious leaders also invited Christians to embark on a spiritual journey of reflection, repentance and renewal.
We should be humble before God, knowing that we are only mortal and we do not even deserve whatever the call that God has given us. We have been made heirs of the kingdom of God. We have been made brothers and sisters of Christ to the Father. So I urge, let us go humbly. Whatever we do, whatever we may plan this season of Lent, let us do it with humility.
We are not only fasting, eating food, but also fasting, doing those things which do not agree well with other members of the community. We fast also using abusive words. We fast also overindulgence with, say, alcohol.
We have been insisted in 3 things: prayer, persistence in prayer, also fasting, and after fasting we must also collaborate and work together and help those who maybe need our help, and go and visit them with our alms giving, and also praying for them during this Easter season. It's a time for prayer, a time for reflection, a time of coming closer to God, and a time, of course, of gathering together.
Elsewhere, victims of the Tasia fire tragedy in Embakasi have received donations including mattresses, blankets and 230,000 Kenya shillings in cash to start their lives again after losing everything. While visiting the victims, Embakasi North Member of Parliament, that is James Mwangi Gakuya, urged Nairobi County Government to use the Disaster Management Fund wisely for such cause, as they are not compensating fire victims in the capital. Residents, however, blamed the state of disaster preparedness within the county, claiming they took long to respond to the disaster.
46. Mimi nimekuja na nilikuwa nimepanga na 1230 zikuwa family zile zilikuwa nimepewa hesabu, lakini hiyo nilikuwa nimekuja nayo ndio itakaona vizuri tosha family zote. Sawa. Kwa hivyo nitawacha hiyo 1230 mpangane kulingana na list hiyo ya waathiriwa. Sawa. Kila mtu apate kitu yake. Namna hiyo gavana tulichagua na kura zetu, na yeye ako na kitati inaitwa Disaster Management Fund. Hiyo fund inafika kwa wananchi waathiriwa wakati na mapema.
Magazi zikaanza kulipuka ikachoma hadi hiyo side nyingine. Hatukuwa na kitu chochote, ungeokoa kitu. Wengine wameumia, wengine wameumia sana. Kwa serikali ya kaunti ni tusaidie mahali wanaweza tupate makao tu, hata kama ni ya kuweka tu kichwa hadi asubuhi, tutashukuru tu.
Now, First Lady Rachel Ruto has called for more concerted efforts in addressing cultural, social and economic gaps which are hindering the quest to realize gender equity in the country. The First Lady, however, says that the Kenya Kwanza government is on course to realize its commitment to advancing women's rights in accordance with its bottom-up economic transformation agenda. She spoke during the official launch of a 3-day women's conference hosted by the Kenya School of Government at Lower Kabete campus. The forum, themed Bridging Generations, Advancing Gender Equality and Harnessing Innovation, will discuss key milestones as the country observes the 30th anniversary of Beijing Declaration and Platform for Action, a global plan to achieve gender equality and women's empowerment. The meeting is set to culminate during the national celebration of International Women's Day on March 8th.
While women have achieved much over the years, they still encounter various challenges that vary according to culture, economic, and social contexts. This conference is an opportunity to address gaps in our pursuit of gender equity.
First and foremost, it's important for us to have a reflection on the women gender equality and critical aspects that normally affect women in Kenya, including the whole issue of governance, leadership, and inclusivity.
So this conference has targeted women in various sectors, and we have a diverse pool of speakers who are coming to talk about issues cutting across entrepreneurship, innovation, technology, because we know we are in a creative economy.
I'm really excited that this conference is being held here at the seat of government, because sometimes people imagine that government is not at the forefront of some of these very key issues. And yet, without government, without the policies, without the laws, without the push of the highest office, some of these things would not happen.
Now, earlier on, the Labour Cabinet Secretary, that is Alfred Mutua, committed to ensure that the unemployed youths get employed across the board, of course, to provide best labour in the world during this particular program that the government will be taking, or rather exporting labour to others overseas, and talked about that regardless of the academic qualifications, the recruitment process favours all as long as you are qualified and skilled. Kenyans should stop complaining and take advantage of the available opportunities that have been availed through the government to the various nations across the globe. Let's listen in to this conversation the Labour Cabinet Secretary, that is Alfred Mutua, was having earlier on with members of the Fourth Estate.
Aliniambia alifika hapa saa 10 asubuhi kwa sababu amesoma na ameteseka na nataka kupata kazi, nataka kupata ajira. Sisi kama serikali ya William Ruto, kazi yetu ni kuwatafutia vijana kazi. Mimi nitazunguka ulimwengu mzima niwatafutie kazi ambazo zinafaa ndio watu wapate kazi. Uchumi wetu utaendelea kupanda. Kuna kazi za ground hapa watu wanafanya mijengo na nyingine, kuna kazi za online, kuna kazi uchumi ukipanuka, lakini pia tuwatafutie watu kazi ng'ambo ya kuchukua ile bakshishi ya watu ambao waweze kupata kazi zote katika nchi yetu ya Kenya. Ni jambo la muhimu kujua ya kwamba sisi hapa tuna mpango maalum wa kuhakikisha kwamba vijana ambao wako tayari kwenda ng'ambo wanaenda kwa njia ambayo inafaa. Tuna zile agencies ambao ni tunaambia vijana muangalie kwa kabisa. Make sure ya kwamba ile agency na kupeleka ng'ambo iko registered na National Employment Agency. Usiende na travel agency. Travel agencies zinawapeleka watu Thailand, wengine wanaenda kule Myanmar, wanakuwa slaves, wanakuwa prostitutes, wanakuwa na slave labor. Kwa sababu hawakupelekwa na serikali. Unasikia watu wengine wamepotea huko, wamekufia huko. Sisi kama serikali hatuwafahamu, kwa sababu walienda kwa njia ya kichini chini. Ukienda ng'ambo kupata kazi, unaambiwa uende ukafanya kazi. Ensure ya kwamba mipango inafanywa ni ile inatumia mpango ule umewekwa na Wizara ya Labor wa National gazeti documents zako zimekuwa attested, hiyo kazi iko posted kwa NEA website. Hayo mambo yote fanya due diligence ndio uchunge wakati tunakuchunga, ndio tuweze kwenda mbele. Jambo la mwisho ni kusema kwamba tunataka Wakenya pia wakienda nchi za ng'ambo wawe pia wajue ya kwamba hawako Kenya, wako nchi za ng'ambo. Ukiwa hapa nyumbani unaweza piga kelele, unaweza piga ngurumu, unaweza lala kwa barabara, unaweza post social media, lakini ukienda ng'ambo unaenda kwa nchi ambazo hawapendi wageni ambao wewe ni mgeni kwa nchi hizo kuanza kuandamana na kuwakosoa kwa barabara ama kuanza kuwapost kwa social media. Kwa sababu hata wefikiria kama Mkenya, kama kuna watu wa South Africa weko hapa Kenya, ama wa Rwanda, ama wa Uganda, ama wa Ethiopia, wamekuja hapa wamepata kazi hapa, alafu waanze kuandamana wanafunga barabara hapa Kenya.
And our reporter Jalo Pichachemtai will be informing us in our subsequent bulletins. Now, healthcare workers in Migori County who have been on strike for the past 3 days have... let me take that again. Healthcare workers in Migori County who have been on strike for the past 3 days have suspended their industrial action for 15 days pending the implementation of an agreement between their union and the county government. In a joint statement issued by union officials and the county leadership, the Kenya National Union of Clinical Officers Migori Branch Secretary Maureen Maramba confirmed that the county government has committed to addressing the workers' concerns. Key issues to be addressed by the county government include staff promotions, provisions of comprehensive medical coverage, and the hiring of additional healthcare workers. Now, this comes as clinicians in Nairobi County have taken to the streets decrying the delay in posting of interns and non-implementation of the return to work formula of 2024.
That we are going to suspend the industrial action for the next 15 days, upon which, if the first item which the timeline should be the next 15 days shall have not been met, then our members again will be out. But if it is met, then we shall have seen we shall have known that we are on the good trajectory.
First, have the goodwill of His Excellency the Governor, Dr. Ochila Yako, who supports the good welfare of the staff working in the health department and the entire Migori County. And I want also to reaffirm that whatever we have agreed upon will be fulfilled within the given timelines.
Still in the region, residents of Ngoya village in Karachuonyo constituency, Homa Bay County, could be facing a possible food security problem as monkeys indiscriminately ravage through farmlands. Community members have expressed their concerns, urging the Kenya Wildlife Service to take immediate action. They want KWS to relocate the monkeys to areas where they do not pose a threat to human settlements or disrupt agricultural activities.
Uwezi kaa kwa amani kwa nyumba yako, ukiwacha chakula wanaingia wanakula yote. Sana sana hawaogopi wakina mama. Kama mimi mwanaume, mimi ndio niko hapa nyumbani peke yangu. Nikitoka hivi tu wanaingia, mama hawajali, wanaingia tu kwa nyumba wanachukua chakula. Ni shida kubwa.
Sasa saa hii atulimi, atufanyi chochote juu ya nyani. Zinatusumbua, zinaingia kwa nyumba, zinaharibu mavitu, hata ukiwacha chakula wanakula yote mpaka unashindwa sasa wewe utafanya nini.
We are requesting the KWS to come and help us. We even gave them the directions, but they never come. So we are appealing to the government, the county government and the Ministry of Wildlife to come and take away these monkeys.
And on the political front, a section of lawmakers from Ukambani allied to Kenya Kwanza Alliance have slammed Wiper's Kalonzo Musyoka and other opposition leader for what they termed as promoting divisive politics. Now led by the member for Machakos Town, Caleb Mule, during the launch of modern market construction, the MP said that the region has lagged in terms of development, adding that it was time to embrace the government and ditch opposition politics.
Tunangoja tuunde serikali yetu lini? Si kwanza tunachukua ile iko saa hii na tunafanya na serikali ile iko ili ilete maendeleo ile iko, kwa sababu sisi tunalipa ushuru kama wale wengine, na kama hatunajiondoa kwa serikali, ushuru wetu tutaupata wapi? Tutaungana na Wakamba wale wengine na tuingie kwa serikali ile iko, kwa sababu hatuwezi kaa nje ya serikali saa yote. Miaka 15 tumekaa nje ya serikali na tumeona the repercussions of being out of government, na hiyo si mzuri.
Now, community policing in Garissa has been hailed as key in improving cohesion and security in the region. Residents say public baraza's engagement with key stakeholders has played a vital role in tackling insecurity. Speaking at a community engagement forum organized by the International Organization for Migration (IOM) at Jamhuri Park, Paul Songok, director of the County Violence Extremism, emphasized the importance of these discussions, noting that they provide a platform for residents to participate in decision-making on security matters.
Umuhimu wa mikutano kama hizi inatuwezesha tuwe na ile trust. Tunaweza ku breach the trust deficit that has been there sometimes back between the security and the community.
Lazima tuungane mkono kwa mkono, tufanye kazi pamoja, tusuluhishe amani. Amani ni kitu nzuri sana.
Tusipokutana kuna kitu ambacho kitafanyika kwa amani. Tukipata shida yote ama tukiona, tunapigia chief simu, chief anawaeleza askari. Ama hata askari tuko na namba zao, tunawapigia.
Kuko sawa. Still on security-related matters, community-based organization in Diani, Kwale County are decrying what they are saying are rising cases of insecurity, calling for concerted efforts to tame the crime. Speaking during a community forum convened to discuss the region's security challenges, local leaders highlighted unemployment and economic hardships as major contributors to escalating insecurity. The forum underscored the need for sustainable solutions targeting youth empowerment to curb the problem.
Himiza vijana kuhusu masuala ya amani.
Shida ya kutoka hapa katika hii generation yetu ya Ukunda na Diani, sote wengi hatuna kazi. Na katika hizi mashirika vile zimeamua zitusaidie. Mimi nilikuwa naomba shirika zitusaidie.
Kuna ile kupeleka watu ugaibuni kufanya kazi, labor export, ambayo serikali inashughulika sana kupata vijana wanaenda. Kuna ile kazi jiajiri ambayo rais mwenyewe anahakikisha anapitia kwa wajumbe, anataka wajenge zile ICT hubs kule ward zote, ili vijana pia nao waende pale wajifunze ile ajira ya ile kufanya kazi kule nchi za nje, lakini wakiwa hapa na wapate pesa zao.
It is 23 minutes past the hour. We need to take our first breather, but don't go too far. On the other side, we'll be giving you a status update, given that any moment from now, the Health Cabinet Secretary, that is Deborah Mulongo Baraza, as well as his SHA representatives will be speaking at the SHA headquarters any moment from now. So you do not want to miss that particular briefing. So don't go too far.
Inua Jamii, karibu nawe kwa haraka na urahisi. Kwa sasa, malipo ya Inua Jamii yanapatikana moja kwa moja kupitia simu ya mkononi. Ikiwa wewe ni mmoja wa wanaopokea fedha hizi, hakikisha laini yako ina huduma ya pesa mkononi. Iwapo huna laini ya simu ya mkononi, tembelea duka la Safaricom au ajenti wa M-Pesa aliye karibu nawe ili usajiliwe kwa ada ya shilingi 100. Inua Jamii ni mradi wa fedha wa serikali unaolenga Wakenya walio na umri wa miaka 70 na zaidi, watoto yatima na watoto wanaoishi katika mazingira magumu, na watu wenye ulemavu sugu, kwa kuwapa malipo ya kila mwezi. Ujumbe huu umeletwa kwako kwa niaba ya Wizara ya Leba na Huduma za Jamii.
You must be Pamela, right?
It is Mrs. Kaikara to you.
Let me prepare something small for you.
Thank you. I'm well staffed. Hiyo itatupunguzia hasara.
You make a very good cop.
Najua hujakuja tu kunicongratulate.
These people are watching each and every move that you're making. Uchunge sana usisleep wewe.
Watu na waelewa. I forgot all about life. If life feels that way, then why did you leave it? And that's one thing, Mwelewi. My life is my career.
I will summon my husband.
Let's talk outside.
What has brought you to Kenya? A wife needs to take good care of the hubby. Why did you have to come all the way? Mr. Kaikara here was very well taken care of by Jacinta. Who is she?
Welcome back and thank you for staying with us. Now, as promised, I want to take you live to the SHA headquarters where the Health Cabinet Secretary Deborah Mulongo Baraza is currently addressing members of the Fourth Estate in regards to the status of SHA. Let's listen in.
It is noteworthy that payment for PHC services is fully tax-funded, a key principle in UHC service delivery. This approach will not only ensure that healthcare funds reach the right places, but will also strengthen service delivery by prioritizing patient needs over insurance status. Regarding Taifa Care, which is the most ambitious health program since independence, the Taifa Care model is, again, it is a success, and it is actually progressing well. Yeah, it is not optional, but it is a must. Taifa Care has the potential to completely transform our health sector, ensuring that every Kenyan has access to quality care regardless of their financial situation. We understand the scale of this program, and that is why we are working hand in hand with counties, healthcare workers, and development partners to ensure seamless implementation. We ask all stakeholders to rally behind this initiative, as its success will change the health landscape of this country forever. To ensure that those who need financial support for healthcare receive it, the ministry will finalize the means testing model by 7th of March 2025, which is on Friday, and this model will ensure that vulnerable groups are accurately identified and supported, reducing financial barriers to healthcare access. Additionally, we are developing a manual to guide counties and healthcare providers and the citizens on how to access services under the digital model. For our focus on primary healthcare remains a top priority. UHC is designed to drive more people towards the primary healthcare services, ensuring that diseases are detected and managed early before they escalate into costly emergencies. Utilization data for January 2025 clearly...
Well, that is the Health Cabinet Secretary Baraza currently addressing members of the Fourth Estate from the Shah headquarters in regards to the latest even update. I'm sure members of the Fourth Estate will be inquiring the latest report that was published by the Auditor General in regards to where the funds do go. And of course, she has also talked to what is urging people to register for that particular program. Also urging those who registered so far to be patient and that they will be covered under the primary health care. Also, the stakeholders she has called upon should support this particular program. Already our very own Nancy Okware is at that particular briefing and will give us more in our subsequent bulletins. In other news now, drama unfolded in Busia County Assembly as two ward representatives engaged in scuffle over alleged irregularities in hiring of county officials by the County Public Service. The MCAs disagreed on a report by the Labour Committee that revealed the hiring of various directors and deputy directors was marred by cases of nepotism and other irregularities. The Speaker of the County Assembly ordered the report to be withdrawn and re-looked at by the Labour Committee.
Being revoked in their entirety, and all the positions being declared vacant in line with the intents received from the respective departments.
I don't think it's good for us to debate this motion. It's not taken by event. Mr. Speaker, recently I had a motion that was put on hold because there is an institution that is dealing with that matter.
And now let's get down to business. Seed maize growers in the country are urging the government to formulate new pricing mechanisms that will cushion them from losses. The merchants say the recent move by the Ministry of Agriculture to revert to the old prices is financially hurting both the seed growers and the Kenya Seed Company.
The Ministry of Agriculture and Livestock Development announced new maize seed prices ahead of the long rains planting season. In a letter addressed to the Kenya Seed Company on Tuesday, February 25, 2025, the ministry noted that it had received several requests from farmers concerned about increased seed prices. The Ministry of Agriculture noted that following consultations, the government resolved to maintain the 2024 rates. This was, however, not received in good faith by the growers, who argue that the reverted prices significantly impact their cost of production due to higher inflation rates.
It doesn't make sense for the government to lower the prices lower than the other people. Competitors, it's a matter of demand and supply. So there is no way you can come and reduce the prices while the other competitors have the prices at a certain stake.
The merchants who are threatening to down their tools ahead of the planting season say the high seed costs could potentially impact maize production and food security in the country, as farmers may be forced to plant less or opt for lower quality seeds due to price constraints.
Ile inputs ambayo tunaweka katika shamba iko juu, na kama itateremshwa hakuna chochote ama faida sisi kama wakulima tunaotegemea kilimo tutapata.
Mbegu imekuwa kidogo. Hata mwaka jana wengi wa wakulima walikosa mbegu na wakapanda mahindi ya store. Kwa hivyo serikali ingekuwa inaangalia juu ya kuongeza bei ili mbegu izalishwe ya kutosha.
Also, livestock farmers in Better North Sub-County are set to benefit to improved water access following the construction of a 12 million shilling earth dam by the Embu County government. Now, Edward Nyanga, the chairperson of the Dams Management Committee, says crop farmers will also benefit from a dam's year-round irrigation to cultivate high-value crops such as vegetables, tomatoes and fruits.
Inafaa kusaidia community around 200 households within the area. Upande sasa wa food security, nimesema sasa tutaweza kufaidika na mboga kidogo kidogo. Sile tutakuwa sasa tukilima kupitia hiyo maji tumepata, na ninaona hiyo itatusaidia sana.
Mifugo kama 3,500 ambayo itakuwa inakunywa maji hapa kwa hii damu. Na ningetaka kushukuru community yote ya hapa Karambare ambao wameweza kutupatia mahali ya kujenga hiyo water pan ambayo iko na 20,000 cubic meters ya maji, na tunahope kwamba kwa hii mvua inakuja March tutaweza kupata maji mingi zaidi.
Stanbic Bank revenue decreased 4% to 39.7 billion shillings on account of reduced lending. Stanbic CEO Joshua Oigara predicts a credit activity uptake in the second quarter after the government announced its plans to pay roads pending bill. Now, Stanbic Bank reported a 13.7 billion shillings after tax profits, with the shareholders set to receive dividends of 18 shillings and 90 cents per share.
Increased cost of funding saw regional lender Stanbic Bank revenue dip by 4% to 39.7 billion shillings. This saw the lender's loan book decrease by 11.59% to close at 230.32 billion shillings. Stanbic CEO Joshua Igara says lending will pick up in the second quarter of the year as the government announces payment of pending bills to the SME sector and reduced domestic borrowing by the government.
The last part will be largely your enterprise clients or SMEs, where largely because of the delayed payments and what we see as pending bills. And you see a lot of actions, particularly from road authorities, to deal with some of those gaps which have happened. So, Bella, it's important to look at your drivers which anchor the growth momentum for credit. And
the lender announced a 13.7 billion shillings after tax profit that was driven by increased transaction volumes and reduced operational costs. Year-on-year, customer deposits also reduced by 2.4% to 339 billion shillings.
Down 4% or 3.8%. I've explained how that happened. Net interest margins, despite all the protections we did to our customers, managed to bring it to about 29 basis points, a reduction from 5.97 to 5.68.
The lender has warned that the recent suspension of USAID operations by the US government will affect its subsidiaries' operations in the neighboring countries.
But obviously, if you think about Uganda and other countries, the conversation to South Sudan is materially complex. It's $1 billion for South Sudan. Everything runs on the UN support. 80% is for the US government.
Stanbic Bank has announced a dividend payout of 20 shillings and 74 cents per share. Benson Rioba reporting for Lunchtime News.
And now to our interview portion on the business side of it all. We are focusing on how technology can help in the business sector, especially when it comes to the micro, small and medium enterprise MSMEs in the country, given that there are many here in the country. So how can technology be a solution for them in this ever-changing globe? To help us at least navigate through this particular discussion is none other than Alexander Odhiambo, the founder and chief executive officer of Solutech Limited. Alexander, good afternoon and welcome to the show.
Good afternoon to you. Thank you.
And maybe give us an overview of how the sector is faring on right now.
There's a lot of vibrancy in the sector, as always. The ecosystem players or innovators or entrepreneurs and startups continue to come up with solutions that are solving problems that are in the industry. In different businesses and sectors. The biggest theme right now is around artificial intelligence and how it's impacting different businesses. I think we all recognize that technology is at the center of the future of every other business around. And other things happening. We've heard of MasterCard Foundation pulling out the funding due to the US effects on the US election. Yeah, so those are just but a few things that are happening, which puts startups at a position where we have to rethink how we fund our businesses.
And given that we're in this digital era, you do know that businesses don't operate normally now with this digital era. Now, MSMEs are many in this particular this country, and the adoption of technology, especially in their sector, is very low. How can this be addressed, and why is this the case?
All right, so some of the reasons why that are slowing the adoption, number one, you'd look at price, the price of getting technology into your ecosystem. And when we're thinking about price, you're thinking margins, the kind of margins that they get in their business to see how it supports their business. Sometimes the one-off costs that come with the software or the fees that they have to pay every now and then. But while you look at that, you also realize that many MSMEs and micros don't really get to understand the return on investment. So there is a need for a lot of education, a lot of digital literacy, and really them getting technology partners who will help them unlock so that they don't see it from a cost perspective, but as a tool to propel their businesses to the next level.
How do you make that level very plain for them, given that you see other companies who are already established are way ahead before even these MSMEs are able to grasp or adopt this technology? So to ensure there is a level playing field in the business sector, how do you ensure, or what advice could you give to many MSMEs who are watching right now they should be doing right now?
Okay, first of all, I think as technology providers, our responsibility does not just lie on providing the tech, but we also have the responsibility of breaking it down in very simple terms. What is this technology and how can it help these business owners in propelling their businesses to the next level? For example, what we do at Solutech, we position ourselves as a partner, as a trusted partner. And by partnership means that when we onboard you, we get to walk with you through that journey. Not you will not buy us off the shelf and use our technology. We want to understand, where is your business? Where are you going? So we create this culture of working with you and innovating with you. Yeah, so if businesses can, many tech providers need to position themselves as long-term partners to these kinds of businesses rather than one-off solutions. Yes.
And we do know those technologies are as good as the people who are running it. So with this partnership, does it include even ensuring the employees grasp the technology and how to use it?
Yes, definitely. Training is at the center of it all. But one of the things that we push as Solutech is it starts from the top. The leadership must lead from the front, and these businesses need to, we encourage them to create a culture of technology adoption. Let it be talked about very many times. We have very many tools that are coming out, talk about ChatGPT and all this. Most of us are on Facebook, on WhatsApp. We can see what they can already do, and they're being adopted by different age groups of people. So definitely education is very, very important. And yeah, so once that, if that is done well, and especially for businesses that are providing these solutions, more and more education, emphasizing on it being as a culture, more training opportunities for staff to expose them more, I think it will really ease in how technology is adopted. Yes.
And what are some of the outstanding challenges you have encountered so far?
Resistance to change. Resistance to change. So that is when it comes to businesses adopting the technology. There's some fear of unknown. There are businesses that are comfortable on how they were doing their things. So if you bring in technology, they might feel like you are interfering with some fabric that really is important to them. And it really takes some work to shift that mindset. So it's basically resistance to change and mindset, apart from things to do with now cost. So it's more on just creating more awareness and training and redefining your methodology on how you onboard these businesses onto tech. Yeah.
And probably what advice could you give, given that you do know that there are many entrepreneurs out there and it has seen an increase which has spurred growth in our economy in this particular country. So what advice would you give those entrepreneurs who are watching you right now?
Great. So my advice to entrepreneurs watching right now would be employ something called design thinking. So design thinking basically is using empathy when it comes to problem solving. Immerse yourselves into the problems to get to understand what do these businesses or users go through on a day-to-day basis, and use that as the foundation of innovation. Yes.
And is funding a problem?
Funding, yes, is a problem. So for example, our business is a bootstrap business.
Yeah.
So we've been there for 10 years, never received any funding. Yes, it can be a problem, but it depends on what kind of business you're running, how fast you want to scale your business.
Yes.
But the truth is, in the past year, we've seen a decline in terms of funding. But we are hoping that things get better as the year goes by. Yes.
Maybe as you give us your final remarks, just talk to the young people who are watching you right now. Is there a future in this industry?
There's a great future in this industry. When you walk around here, there's very many problems that we get to encounter. Every business you go to, every organization you interact with, even in your day-to-day interactions with people, socially and all this, there are so many problems yet to be solved. There are very many opportunities, and especially with artificial intelligence coming in, this is the time to immerse yourselves into understanding how do you position this technology for your own well-being. Yeah.
Thank you so much. There you have it. There's still opportunities in the tech world, according to Alexander Odhiambo, who is the founder and the Chief Executive Officer of Solutech Limited. Thank you for joining us this afternoon. That concludes our interview portion, and directly want to look at what is happening in the world of sports. We start off where World Athletics President, that is Sebastian Coe, believes that athletics and sports in general can be used to raise awareness on the challenge the world is facing on gender-based violence. Coe met with Cabinet Secretary for Sports Salim Mvurya today to discuss both the gender-based violence menace in the sports and the world, and also the fight against doping as World Athletics continues to encourage running clean among athletes.
We wanted to discuss two key areas. One was the ongoing fight in the anti-doping space, which the Kenyan government have been so supportive of all our efforts. And the second key area, and the very prominent challenge around gender-based violence, not entirely or uniquely linked to sport, but I think the recognition that we can use sport as a way of raising the profile of this challenge, particularly in the wake of the awful events so recently involving the sport of athletics. And so I'm delighted to be here to look at the ongoing work, to support the work of the Kenyan government in this space through our efforts at World Athletics with e-learning and making sure that our education programs, our work around safe space and safeguarding is completely in alignment with the very good work that is now being undertaken by the Kenyan government.
The Kenya government has rolled out a gender-based violent effort in sports. And right now we have a whole secretariat headed by a CEO who have made a lot of progress, in identifying key areas that we need to work together to ensure that we protect women on matters sports, so that we don't have gender-based violence on matters sports. We have been reviewing also legislation, and we'll soon be coming up with a policy that is going to provide guidance, as a critical foundation, to ensure that we inculcate gender-based violence preventive practices in the sports fraternity.
Now, the much-anticipated AFC Leopards Corporate Task Force report is finally out and has recommended the transformation of Kenya's oldest football club from the current society to a mixed ownership model.
The report names a mixed ownership model as the preferred football structure, which is widely regarded as the best long-term option among various ownership models in football. Under this rule, AFC Leopards club members and fans own over 50% of the club, ensuring that private investment are possible while preventing complete control by owners who may prioritize their interests.
There is nothing that comes easy. It's a new concept, so we have to push it to the members. As the chairman has said, the team is going through hard times because they're just stagnant, the society. You see, and he has mentioned Yanga. I was with him at Yanga. They are doing well, so we have to change.
Whereas the SACCO member will constitute 51% stake, strategic investors will take 49% of the stake.
The caliber of FC members has improved, and we found it very easy to sell it out because most of the current FC Leopards members are well-traveled. They all support other teams in the world. And it was very easy for them to relate to the other teams they support outside Kenya.
We make a lot of noise out here. But running a football club, it is not a walk in the park. It is not cheap. And now, where FIFA and CAF are taking us, you will be running 3 clubs: the senior team, the youth team, and the women's team. And that requires a lot of finances. And without being organized and having strategies, it will be difficult to actually run the clubs.
The report puts the club's nominal value at 2 billion Kenya shillings after capturing the unique value-driving aspects of a football club, such as its sporting performance, fan base, supporter loyalty, rich history and commercial potential, among others. The report comes from a 6-month research and stakeholder engagement undertaken by an 8-member task force committee chaired by Vincent Shimoli.
And now it is my pleasure to inform you that Arsenal edged closer to the quarter-finals of the UEFA Champions League after thrashing PSV not 1, not 2, not 3, but 7 goals to 1 in their last 16 first-leg match played last night in Netherlands. The Gunners, who had failed to find the back of the net in the 18th minute before Ethan Nwaneri doubled their lead 3 minutes later. Miguel Merino added a 3rd goal for Arsenal before Noah Lang netted the consolation from Asia. Well, I want to inquire from the Manchester United fans as well as Chelsea fans, when was the last time you saw your team scoring all those goals? Instead, they received them. And of course, the Champions League continues this evening with Feyenoord facing Inter Milan, Bayern Munich against Bayer Leverkusen, Benfica, Barcelona, and finally the big match of the day is PSG against the league leaders, English Premier League leaders, Liverpool. That concludes our bulletin. My name is Abdiaziz Hashim. The sign language interpreter at the bottom end of the screen is Lucy Maura. Good afternoon for now.
Wellness is important in our daily lives so that instead of just surviving, we should be thriving.
Ways to prevent a stroke or heart attack is for you to know what conditions you have. By regular checkup, people don't know they have hypertension, they don't know they have diabetes.
I was pre-diabetic. I was afraid of getting lifestyle diseases because I come from a family that has lifestyle diseases.
How do you know if your cough is due to a serious condition? We'll have some answers. Stay well
and strive to make every day a healthy day.
Sawa.
Alex, kwani kuna shida?
Hata ni bahati dada alikuwa na accomplice.
Kwa hivyo babako ni muuaji. Next time usiniambie ujinga kama hauna evidence enough, sawa?
Na huu mkora Alex alimtoa wapi?
All I need ni pesa tu kiasi, niko chini.
Toka! Alex, sasa ni nini?
Unajua hata kuna kitu nilikotaka tuongee. Lakini
Jackie, naomba msamaha. Ile kitu ningekufanyia wewe ungesahau. Ni shetani.
Na si umetaja hiyo jina sana. Na akikamapa utadu.
Sasa kuna deal imeivana hapa, deal ya gold.
Bado hujaniambia kwa nini umeniita hapa.
Niko na idea poa sana nataka kukuambia.
You know, there's one way we'll counter my uncle.
Which is?
Just get me pregnant, Alex. Kai. Kamdingo kapienga.
Uhali gani mpenzi mtazamaji wa runinga ya KBC Channel 1. Ni juma lingine mtazamaji tunapatana katika nyanja hii ya kilimo. Nyanja ambayo hukufunza wewe mbinu bora na za kisasa pamoja na teknolojia zinazoimarisha maisha. Mimi ni wako Francis Ngala. Karibu katika kipindi cha mkulima. Gari letu mtazamaji juma hili lilitia nanga katika eneo la Mathare hapa jijini Nairobi na kukutana vijana hawa ambao wameungana pamoja kuanzisha mradi wa kilimo na ufugaji ili kuona kwamba unaingia katika mnyororo wa dhamani. Vijana hawa wanajiita Huruma Town Farmers. Hebu nisikuwa muongeaji sana, tuungane na wao watusimulie historia yao.
Hiki ni kikundi cha Huruma Town Youth Group. Kikundi hiki kilianzwa mwaka wa 1999 lakini hakikuendelea kwa muda mrefu kwa sababu ya mizozo hapa na pale. Tulikutana na Kevin Undunyi, mmoja wa waanzilishi wa kikundi hiki.
So tuliave kuirevive in 2008. Hapo ndio tulirevive na as we started tulikuwa 5 champions wenye walianzisha, mimi nikiwa mmoja wao founders. Na sasa hivi wenye nazungumza tuko a total of 27 people. Wale wako seriously members, but kuna wale wanajitanga tu ni members but hawako serious members. So tukiita town yote inaweza kuwa more than 50, but 27 ndio wale wenye wako active na wako wanafuata sheria za kikundi.
Eneo wanaloishi ni mjini, hivyo sehemu kubwa ni majumba. Licha ya hilo, vijana hawa ni wakulima na wafugaji shupavu.
Tunafanya ukulima ina tofauti, lakini haswa sana mimi nimejiingiza sana kwa ukulima wa mbuzi wa maziwa. So mbuzi wa maziwa ni kwamba tunapata maziwa ya mbuzi, tunapata